last 4 episodes have been a 3-part series we did discussing, balanced dog training and force-free dog training and some of the conflict that's been going on against each other. And those videos have really, really taken off. I mean, the first one gained a ton of traction. I think we got right now, like 6,000 views on it or something like that, which is not too shabby for like an hour and a half long episode.
Yeah.
And then all the other ones have done extremely well also. Tons of engagement, tons of questions, tons of people just putting their opinion into things and stuff. And I think, I can understand for some people, maybe those last 3 episodes were like either you didn't care about them or you were annoyed about them or whatever, because it is kind of a little bit of like dog trainer drama, if you will.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I think that it was an important conversation for me to kind of put my 2 cents into to help continue to educate people on what is going on in the dog world, because we are in a position right now where there's serious potential in the states right now that they're going to start putting legislation on tools that we're using, e-collars, prong collars, things like that. And we have a ton of clients, a ton of people that listen to this show, a ton of people in general that use those every day and rely on those every day in order for them to continue doing the things with their dog that they love doing. So if that hypothetically happens, like that could really, really, really put a wrench into the dog training industry as a whole, as you know, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a serious thing, right? And that's why I wanted to put my 2 cents into it and help articulate my stance on the issue, help articulate and dissect everybody else's stance on the issue, and just kind of make everybody aware of it. But outside of that, we're kind of past that right now. There's nothing really further to discuss on the situation, so we're just going to get back into some just good old-fashioned dog training stuff.
Let's go. I think my final 2 cents on that too, though, is the amount of comments and discourse that we got through that. It just shows, that we're not just hating on some guy or seeing an opposing view, like as just you as a dog trainer talking about other dog trainers. Like, this is an actual issue that regular owners and regular people see.
Yeah.
That, that there is a wave of indifference in the dog training world. And it's not just trainers seeing it, it's everyday people.
Sure.
So I think was my favorite part of, being on the YouTube and looking at these comments that you're replying to and seeing that people really do care about this issue,
Well, I just look at, right, so like my relationship that I have with my dogs, right? And this is a conversation that can go really far. We're not going to get super crazy with it, obviously, but like, obviously I use e-collars with my dogs, right? Could I hypothetically get my dogs to do whatever I need to without the e-collar? Like, yeah, but like, the amount of security that tool provides me and mentally puts me in a position where I feel comfortable doing some of the things I do, like taking them into very, crowded public areas, right? Mm-hmm. Like letting them off leash to run in areas where there may be wildlife or deer around and stuff like that. And just knowing that, I have that backup. It's no different than saying like I could drive a car without a seatbelt, right? Like, and I feel pretty damn confident that, I've been driving now for fucking 15 years or something like that.
Yeah.
And have successfully not been, knock on wood, right? in like a major, accident or anything like that, like anything like life threatening. But like, I sure do feel a hell of a lot safer knowing that I have that backup, right? And I'm sure I could be more critical thinking and think of further ways to help make sure that I'm being a better defensive driver, to make sure I don't put myself in a bad situation and avoid maybe high traffic locations or places where there might be a lot of accidents that happen and this and that, to reduce the risk where if I wasn't using that seatbelt, I would be okay.
Yeah.
But I don't want to do that, right? The convenience factor of me being able to drive on the busy interstates and go downtown during sporting events and this and that. And I'm really humanizing this right now. Yeah. But that's how I look at the e-collar, right?
Yeah.
Sure, maybe I could not take my dogs off leash in the golf course that's behind my house to let them run around where there's a lot of wildlife. Or maybe I could go buy a 50-foot leash and let them drag that around forever for the end of time. Or if they go to run after something, I could stop them with it. Or maybe I could focus a little bit more on when I take them out there, doing more recalls with positive reinforcement and building more engagement with me and stuff like that, like I did when they were younger. But it's like, the way we do things is so nice. It doesn't create a lot of stress for me where I need to go into those environments every single time, like on my 100% A game, ready to do all of this training and ready to be really strategic with managing and preventing issues and this and that, where I could just go and micromanage them, right? I could just go into those environments and I could just let them be a dog.
Yeah.
Right? And I could just not need to worry about it. And my wife and I can have a good time and talk to each other and not feel like we have this absolute split-second hair reaction time all the time in case something happens because I can't correct them from a distance when they're off leash with the e-collar if they make an improper choice. And you know what? A lot of people will look at that. And I was listening to, there was a podcast that came out recently with Ivan again and Susan Garrett, who's a very, 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 very well-established force retrainer, like a really good one, right? We're not going to discredit anything that she does, obviously, right? But at one point they were discussing e-collars, and Susan said her younger dog that she had, if she was an e-collar trainer, he would have been able to enjoy himself much earlier in life. He would have been, like she lives on like 16 acres, he would have been able to run free and this and that. But because she chose to be a positive reinforcement trainer, she didn't do that, and he had to wait a couple years longer before he could enjoy a lot of the off-leash freedom, because obviously it's a little bit more time consuming, right?
Yeah.
And she said that using the e-collar would have inhibited her ability to be growth-minded or something like that, right? Meaning all those skills and techniques and things she needed to learn to manage the dog while he was off leash and create, like, you know, differential reinforcements and keep the dog's attention and make it just so that it's more reliable. When she's off leash, she wouldn't have learned how to do all of those things, which is why people shouldn't use e-collars. To which Ivan said, doesn't that sound exhausting?
Yeah.
Like, if you as a professional dog trainer took that long to be able to get to a place where you trusted your dog off leash, and you probably still have a high degree of management at play that you need to do to make sure that the dog isn't taking off after things, your average owner isn't going to do that. And me as a professional dog trainer, I don't want to have to do that. Like, that's just so freaking draining. Right?
Exactly. Yep.
So again, I look at if these tools were outlawed, for example, first and foremost, obviously, I'm sure there's some loopholes of you as an owner, how you could still use them, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I probably would still be using them.
Oh, for sure.
Right? But nonetheless, let's say like it really got serious and it was like there's going to be thousands of dollars of fines or risk of your dogs getting taken from you if they found out that you're having, or whatever, any sort of hypothetical like that, and I truly couldn't use them anymore. God damn, I just don't think my dogs would have the quality of life that they're able to have right now. And we could argue that all day long, and you could say I'm lazy, you could say I'm not a good trainer then, this and that. But the fact of the matter is that is going to seriously impede on your average owner's life.